Welcome to the John Trading channel. I'm John, and in today's video, I'm going to give you my price prediction for HEX coin in 2023. What price can HEX coin reach in 2023? Make sure you stay tuned until the end of the video as I'll give you all of my price targets and my prediction for HEX coin. Let's review the recent price action that's actually happened on HEX coin. Back from these absolute lows, we made massive gains up over 44,000%, but we look at this all-time high back roughly in the September 2021, and we drag it all the way to these lows. You can see basically we're down 99%. So if you had $100 invested in HEX, you would be only worth $1 today, that investment. So you can see we have had a major decline, and a major portion of the decline has actually come in the last couple of weeks, seeing that we're actually down 90% in just the last couple of weeks, beginning back in early May. So you can see we're on this massive decline, and personally, I really would be waiting to personally buy. None of this is financial advice, but when I'm actually looking to purchase, you don't want to be purchasing on these massive red and especially trending bars that are continuing to the downside. So you can see once we got this massive EMA downturn in this side of the market, you can see we continuously came back into the value zone. People were selling every time we came close to the average price. Even through here, as soon as you come close to the average price, people are looking to get out of their trades or enter into new trades and now continue to the downside. So, and even in this area, we did have a strong break. You can see the EMA was starting to begin to turn bullish, but now looks like potentially we're going to be in a bit of a trading range type action where we're going to go slightly up, slightly down, slightly, but potentially we could just then follow along. It depends what's really going to have a reaction out of here, but I don't expect, especially with the entire crypto market moving down today, I wouldn't expect this to just go absolutely straight up. So I would need to wait for some type of bullish reaction. Over here, there was a little bit of support in this area, reason being initially was resistance, got broken through, now acting as a support level. One of the first levels that I do believe that HEX would definitely come to would actually retest somewhere in this level here, because you can see we had really strong support in this area. We got a bit of a breakdown. We actually got a break up. You can even see we came in this area again, trying to support, but then once we got that breakdown, we actually used it as a resistance level. So I would expect actually this to be one of the first prices for HEX to come back and retest and at least move sideways in this direction. So again, I don't really think this area perfectly is a perfect buy, but I do believe that soon could be an opportunity, so we need to watch out for that. I do expect price to come somewhere up to here and at least have a bit of a bounce and slight decline before then looking potentially for the next target. But again, we would need to see how the reaction is happening. If we just look at the current price, we're roughly at that 0.7 of a cent, so not even 1 cent. If you drag it up roughly to the area that I do believe would be a decent first price target, roughly 330%. So again, a perfect trade on that, but you would need to use the right risk to reward strategy. Again, I only ever recommend, especially my trading course, that you only ever risk 2 to 3% of your entire portfolio. So if your entire portfolio is $10,000, then only risking a maximum of somewhere between 200 to 300, and 300 being the absolute maximum. Using that 3% risk strategy is truly the only and best way to continue trading. Once you find these good probability trades where you try and get them 50-50, even 60-40, you can even win using a 30-70 strategy where you only win 30% of the time. As long as you structure the risk to reward in the correct manner, you're also using, and you understand your average win rate. As long as your risk to reward is structured in the right way, then you always can have a positive traders equation. Means you can always have a positive traders equation, meaning you can take that exact same trade hopefully hundreds of times, and over time, even though you might lose this one or you might lose this and then the next one, it does not mean that the entire trading system doesn't work. It's a trading system over time that you expect to be profitable after 100 trades, not just one singular trade. So that is definitely one key. So I would say this actually to be my first price target for HEX. I do believe that there is enough support, that resistance flip, that is that support to resistance flip in this area. I do believe that, yeah, would be a decent price target. And again, over 300% gains on a potential short-term trade, because just as quick as this move to the downside over 80%, I do believe it would have pretty quick upside movement. But again, you would need to wait for some type of confirmation. Hasn't really given me the confirmation, and I'm not interested in buying right at the bottom of these massive bear trend bars, especially being bear trend bar, bear trend bar, bear trend bar. It's just not as exciting. Let's move over to target 2. Now, my second target for HEX in 2023 would be in this area here. You can already see it's quite a strong level in the market. Through this area, even through here, we had a really strong level of support. Then through in this area, we had consistent levels of support. We had support in this area. We came back just slightly lower in that area, tested to the upside, came back and retest that as a slightly higher high compared to this low. And then we really had that really strong breakout to the downside. But look what happened when we line up that line. Look what happened. So we had this support level in this area through here. We then had a breakout to the downside. Where do we come back and retest? We retest this support that flipped to a resistance level. Once a really strong support level has got broken through, it means that it is going to act as at least a short-term resistance level. But this was a major resistance level. Look, we came back into this price perfectly across to here. And then look at the decline that we did. We're down over 94% from that absolute high. If we count it from the absolute high here that happened in price and we drag it down, 94, so close to 95%. So see how quickly we had that major downturn after retesting this type of high. I don't expect it to have that type of reaction in this area where we go straight up and straight down, but you can see that definitely support and resistance flips and understanding them are really good trade potential areas to actually get in. If you use this perfectly as your entry point, say you needed, well, in this particular trade, somewhere between 20% stop, but you would understand that, especially being HEX, how quickly it can drop 95%. You just need to structure your trades so you're only risking 2 to 3%. That means that you need to have 22% risk in the market. Basically means that you only want to be taking 1/10 of your normal position size, because if you divide your 22% loss, divide it by 10, because you're also taking 1/10 of your position size, then all of a sudden you can take that trade because you're risking 2.3% of your entire portfolio on that singular trade. So you can structure them the right way. Again, if you need more, I do have that course in the description, but as we go. So again, what the next thing I would do is also grab a Fibonacci level from this high. So I'm grabbing it from the high, dragging it all the way down to the low, and you can see some levels that it is filling in. So we've got the 0.382, 0.5 and 0.618 level, but currently you can see it's not actually lining up with this support level. It's not currently lining up with this support level. So right now there is not as much confluence in the market. This would definitely be my next target. So we'll actually put that in somewhere just maybe a little bit lower right through here. So right in that area would actually be a perfect level. If we could get a break above this area, maybe have that small decline, look for a couple of pushes, then I definitely think we'll at least have that medium term, because we've tested it once, but only until you've tested it sometimes 2 and 3 times is when it becomes even more likely to break through. When we've only just tested it once in previously, that might mean that it might act as a medium-term resistance where we continue down and then potentially continue up, but it might take a little bit of time to form through that. So it could even be that we're already over halfway through the year. So that could mean that could push into 2024 and especially probably into 2024, especially when we're looking at this price target. If we drag it all the way up to this high, that's 1700% gain. Yeah, I do think that may not happen just in a 6-month time frame, and we might need a little bit more time to develop. So again, this area is definitely strong because of the support to resistance flip. I would have just liked to seen also line up with some of these Fibonacci levels, and since it didn't, there's not really confluence, meaning confluence actually means that you've got multiple strategies all basically showing you the same thing in the same area. Where if you've got a perfect Fibonacci level lining up, then you got a support to resistance flip lining up, maybe even got a trend line trading strategy lining up in the same area. All of a sudden that confluence, in my personal opinion, gives you a higher win percentage because you've got more traders looking to do the same thing in the area. So there's more strategies and basically more money looking to do the same thing in that area. And when you've got more money, that leads to more momentum in the market. And obviously, as I talk about in other videos, we're retail traders, we're not institutional traders. So we basically have to piggyback on other people's trades. The reason being is we don't have $10 million to move the market. With our $10,000 or $50,000 trades, we can't actually physically move the market up and down. We can only buy and it will slightly move up 0.001%. You need millions of dollars to be able to move the markets and shift them around. So really, when we're just piggybacking on these trades, we want to be looking for more momentum in that area, because it then means more money. More money means more momentum. More momentum means that we can potentially piggyback easier on other people's trades, because we just don't have that power to push the markets up and down like other people do. They have millions and millions of dollars like institutional traders. My third and final target for HEX is going to be a little bit of a moonshot, and I'll just give you that warning now. We're going to use the trend-based Fibonacci extension, grab it from this all-time low, grab it to the all-time high, and then drag it down to this current low. Although this could change very easily, because if I'm saying the current low is here today, and then we continue down another 10%, well, then this line would definitely have to change. So it is a little bit of a moving line at this current point. If I could put it at this low here before we even got this low, it would make it easier. But since this is potentially moving, it might mean a bit of difference and changing in the market after this video comes out. But we can see here that we've got the 0.618 is one of our most interesting levels. You can actually see here, this is actual level of confluence now, because we've got the 23.6 on the trend-based Fibonacci perfectly lining up with this support to resistance flip. So that's what I want to see in this area would definitely be a target for me. But and actually selling in this area, now we've got confluence. Now we're going to have multiple traders, more momentum, more money doing the same thing in that area. Potentially, I'm going to piggyback on that trade and then continue. I'm going to look for a long all the way there and potentially look at a short to bounce downwards off that market using that 2 to 3% maximum risk on that strategy. Again, this is a bit of a moonshot. It's actually saying that HEX can go up to close to $1, and currently we're 0.7 of 1 cent. So if we drag that all the way from the low to this potential target here, that's 13,000%. So a massive move, basically 130x from the current price is a potential price target. But again, this is a moonshot in this particular instance because of how far it needs to move. It needs to move 130x, and I'm personally not sure if it can do it. But if we can even just get close to this old all-time high, which is roughly 8,000% away, 8,300, that's over an 80x. I would probably be happy taking it over the 80x, then trying to drag it out to this 130. But using this mathematical equation known as trend-based Fibonacci extension, then we will go off this. But again, none of this is financial advice. I'm not telling you how to trade. I'm only showing you some potential strategies that I'm using in the market and not what you should be doing in the market. So this would be my third and final price target for HEX, right at this 98-cent level. So it's between the 93, 94, and 98, depending, because that is known as the golden zone. So we've got these three targets. Definitely the first couple definitely more realistic, looking at a 300% on the first one, 1,700% on the second one, and over 13,000% on the third one. So a little bit of a moonshot target, but especially right now when we're looking at price and the exponential moving average is moving to the downside, a better play in the short term would be to look where this exponential moving average comes to. And once we get a price actually coming back and hitting the exponential moving average, that would definitely be a trade to then at least continue to the downside for a short period of time. And if you look in this area, what we really would be looking for is a level of confluence. Say in this area, instead of it moving like that, say the EMA started to move like this, and then price actually came up and we got a perfect retest, that would give me even more confluence in the market, because it's showing that we're coming off of this support area in this here, and then also using it as resistance, since it's a support to resistance flip. And then we've also got the EMA in this strategy, using it as the value zone, because the short term will be something like this, and everywhere in here is known as the value zone. So you could definitely have at least a short term bounce in this area, which could line up perfectly with the exponential moving average. We'll see in a future video, as I'll make an update video in the future, so we can all see how it performed to what I said, how it is performing, is it hitting any of our targets. So I do believe that this could actually line up pretty nicely. We'll have to see how it reacts in the next few days to weeks. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, leave a like on the video, make sure you're subscribed and you hit the bell notification, plus leave a comment if you're enjoying these crypto videos.